Welcome to the M3 Bearcast. My name is Malcolm Travers. Male Media Mind is a grassroots organization dedicated to uplifting and unifying the Black Bear community through dialogue, insight, creativity, and knowledge. And for the past 8 years now, I've been doing blogs, live streams, and posting on social media. And several times I've been asked to do a podcast. And we've done a few in the past on entertainment topics such as The Walking Dead and Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we've also done an M3 Bearcast, but this is a relaunch. And in episode 2, I'm going to be talking to David Vollin, who is one of my favorite people because he brings out some of the better arguments in myself. And the way that we've been recording it has made it more palatable for a podcast. I'm trying to make these as easy to produce as possible, while at the same time respecting your time and attention, realizing that, giving up an hour of your day to listen to us talk means that we're going to try to bring you as much value as we can. And with that in mind, I also have some special perks for you. If you make it to the end of this podcast, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the M3 Live broadcast. So after we go off the air, oftentimes me and my friends will talk, and I've asked their permission to record some of those conversations. But sit back, relax, listen to David and I wax philosophical about art and genre and just get nerdy as fuck. Hope you enjoy. Catch you in the next episode. The title of the video is, Are Intelligent People More Lonely? And the argument that he was making in it is that people who are emotionally intelligent will have interests and views of the world that aren't socially acceptable. And because of this, they were going to have a smaller circle of people who will gravitate to their ideas, except for the fact that they will find camaraderie in other intelligent people through the art that they create. Saying that they're having relationships with people who are not present, but who have left large bodies of work that someone can study or appreciate. And in a sense, there are people we would classify as lonely because we see them sitting at home alone, but in fact, they actually have a very rich inner life. Dead people. Just saying. Or people who they've never met. They might be contemporaries of theirs, not actually there in the room with them. Which is also another aspect of intelligence that allows you to pick up on the more subtle nuances of someone's expressions. So typically someone who's more emotionally intelligent has a greater appreciation for art because they're picking up on more subtleties than less emotionally intelligent people.
I find that to be a very suburban perspective of the world. In other words, growing up in the city. So I know I talk about this all the time, but the idea of the cultural salon came from my buddy Alex and I romanticizing about the salons in Europe during the Enlightenment, from the 15th, 16th, to the 18th centuries, even the 19th centuries in Paris and Germany and in all over Europe, basically. Even as recently as World War II, what you found were, take American artists, take James Baldwin, take Alexander Calder, take Tina Turner, take F. Scott Fitzgerald, take any number of artists, Mary Cassatt, take any number of artists that they actually got together. If you were in Paris in 1775 or in 1850 or in 1910, World War I, or in the 40s, World War II, you were immersed in a culture where everybody was there and they all hung out together and they all shared ideas. It was an intellectual community. It was a salon.
Right.
And that changed after World War II dramatically.
How so?
Let's take a city like New York. Let's take a city like Washington, for instance. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was like, hey, he said, I've lived in New York since I graduated from college. New York is supposed to be the hub of civilization. And yet I meet so few people here that are really, truly interesting and intellectual.
Yeah.
So that academic environment that we enjoyed in college, it doesn't exist in the real world. The real world, it is really a rarefied environment. And scientists and artists and politicians, activists and sculptors and whatever, they don't really get together and hang out with each other anymore. It doesn't happen. We're all taught to stay in our lane, but we don't really get together and really share ideas on that level like we used to do.
I think that's actually not true, though. I don't know if you're like paying attention to the TED organization, but I think for the past, 15 years, they've been holding these TED conferences across the world where people go up and give a 20-minute speech that they feel can change the world, and they sit down and talk about shit afterwards. I don't know if the symposiums that you're talking about exist today. I just don't think you're interested in them or you're not aware of them. They exist.
I don't see that kind of groundbreaking shit.
I don't know if you're looking for it. Because I'm just saying I see it all the time.
I may not.
It's almost
not be.
Yeah, I was going to say it's almost a gluttony of it, actually, to the point of being bored by it. I almost feel like there's like when everything is special, nothing special type thing. There's like a world-changing idea on the TED stage like every 2 or 3 months. It's almost ridiculous. And at the same time, it's available for everyone, yet no one's paying attention.
Is it really world-changing?
Yeah. We're talking about ideas that can save millions of people's lives over the course of a couple of decades. I would say that's world changing. But the thing is that, like I said, there's so much of it and there's so many issues like that none of it really rises above the rest of it. Like it's actually a glut.
Then it doesn't work. It has to. How did we get impressionism? How did we get romantic classicism in classical orchestral music? How did we get jazz? What I'm not seeing in our culture, the real cultural evolution. I see, like in the Victorian era, I see a regurgitation of a lot of other shit. The Victorians regurgitated the Gothic era, neoclassicism, Rococo, they fucking neo-Egyptianism. They had a series of very beautiful and thoughtful and romantic revisions. But the groundbreaking shit, I've been listening to hip-hop and rap since the 40s. I've been listening to rock. What is the new musical genre? When is, in my lifetime, I've only experienced a couple of truly groundbreaking musical genre. House music, disco. Pop, you can really trace that back into the blues and jazz kind of thing, but it did articulate itself a little differently. But really basically for the past 40 or some years, there has not been a new musical genre.
So how would you describe something as groundbreaking? What criteria would a genre of music need to be?
So my understanding of art is to break tradition. When I was in college, my colleagues and I, we started a group called Architect Noir. I would challenge it myself, postmodernism. After modernism, modernists say that modernism died around 1972. I don't believe so. I believe we are still thoroughly in the modern era, just like we're still in the post-Victorian. We are the cusp. We're really deep into the sexual revolution.
Yeah.
But culturally, socially, we are still firmly rooted in Victorian culture. When do we actually experience a genuinely, authentically unique form of art? When do we do that? How often does that happen? We saw it with rock and roll. We saw it with jazz. We saw it with a lot of different other genres. We saw it in art.
Yeah, so
you know,
I think the thing for me has always been there's art and then there is the critical acclaim or popularity of a work of art. So a lot of things that we consider today to be classics or canon may not have always been appreciated by the people within their time frame. Not to mention that there's plenty of work that was considered important at the time that is forgotten, at least by the masses, a part of history books that almost no one's read. What I'm saying, I'm not saying anything's new. What I'm saying is that what we consider to be important, avant-garde or important, or however we view the world now, is not the way that it's going to be viewed by the people 200, 300 years from now, because of just the increased amount of change that happens between those two time frames. It's like a mind trying to observe itself, an eyeball observing its own retina. It's just not something we're capable of. We are not capable of fully analyzing our current cultural situation because we're in it.
I agree partially with that.
Yeah,
but when there is I'm talking about a very clear and obvious break with tradition. When you first heard ragtime music in the late 1800s, you never heard that before, and you knew it. You never heard it before. It was absolutely unique in the world. It was absolutely, incontrovertibly new. There was no question that this was absolutely breaking with every tradition.
You enjoyed something new. We're not geared toward going for something new all the time. Usually the reason something breaks out or becomes a thing is because we are dissatisfied with the thing we have. So this sort of, we're homeostatic creatures, right? Like we attempt to maintain the status quo whenever possible. The reason there are social uprisings is not because the new thing is so much better. It's that the old thing needed to be replaced. So I'm just making a devil's... If we were to reach some ultimate form of culture everyone is satisfied with for whatever reason, they say it's not the best or the worst, it's just people are satisfied with it, there may not be some grand evolution of art every generation or so. I mean, like people may just rehash and recycle the shit that we've already done because they enjoy it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly because I'm that person. I am that kind of person that once I deal with something, I deal with it, I'm done. I call it a neoist. I'm a neoist. I want to know what's new, what's fresh, what's brand spanking new, what is it that nobody's talking about now? What is it? A lot of stuff that I hear people talking about now, fuck, I've been talking about that shit for the past like 20. I'm totally bored with it. I'm like, okay, finally, y'all motherfuckers, I'm already looking for the next thing. What is the next? What is the next new thing? Talk about, to do, to say. That's how I view art. Art is volatile. It has to necessarily change and evolve. It's beautiful. I love the fact that the Egyptians created a very stylized and similar form of art and architecture for over 5,000 years. But it did change. There were like significant breaks in their art and architecture. It didn't happen very often, and it happened, but it did happen suddenly when it did happen. Yeah. I have to be honest. I'm a little bored with 21st century culture. I mean, it's 20th century culture. And in a great sense, it's 19th century. We're still Victorian and Georgian and Elizabethan. I want to see something fucking new in my lifetime. I want to hear something different. I want to see something. I want to see a different type of architecture. I'm tired of modernism. I'm completely bored with it. Everybody's done whatever the fuck they could do with modernism now. It's just, okay, I don't see anything fresh.
I think the point I was making before was that we are very, by our nature, attracted to the familiar. And I think even as people innovate and make new things, I can say even as a creator who might study some aspects of design, these are traditions that go back further than I can even imagine. These measures of composition and lighting and these basic ideas that are, deeply rooted in our physiology in a sense. People might remix them a lot of different ways, but I honestly feel like it really comes down to, I think, an expression of our given circumstance. The point of art to me, is to change the culture. I think that's absolutely not the point of art. If I have to get like super philosophical on it, I say that art is that thing that we as a culture create, that its only usefulness is to make life worth living. Like when we talk about something that is useful, like when we create something, there's things that we use to make a living.
That's subsistence.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Art.
I'm contrasting this with art. This is what I'm saying. There are the things that we create to subsist, like you said, subsist. And then there are the things that we create to make us want to make it worth it, to make it worth doing, worth the effort. Now, art may evolve over time because our circumstances change. But if our circumstances haven't changed, that's why the art hasn't changed. If I'm just being real, the reason why art hasn't reflected this new revolution is because we haven't changed. Capitalism and Victorianism and whatever, it's the same old shit because we're the same. We haven't.
Bingo. That's what I was saying.
Okay, well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We haven't evolved as a people. And when we do, our art will reflect that, because I feel like art is a reflection of our desire to enjoy life.
I also think art is a mirror of life, and I feel that some of the challenges to humanity now are not just ideological. I think some of them are technological. I think that when we discover new technology, like new forms of energy that will allow us to travel, and when we discover ways to expand our consciousness so that we don't just see the spectrum of colors that the human eye has been able to perceive for 100,000 years. We're able to all of a sudden see in different ways. And I think these types of things, being able to time travel, being able to do things like that, are going to change art. They're going to change music, because the very fabric of our existence is going to change. But I go back again to say I'm bored with 21st century culture. I'm ready. I'm desperate.
That is a stance to have. I am just the opposite. I feel like there's so much. It's like an infinite amount of possibilities of things I could explore in a finite amount of time. I feel actually just the opposite, that there's so much to. I'm not saying that all of this is new. Actually, a lot of it is stuff that preceded me before I was born. But ironically, that's just going to become a bigger and bigger problem as our knowledge and our creative accomplishments accumulate. We're going to have even more difficulty sorting through it all. Because I was thinking about it today. I'm trying this editing program out, and in its files in the cloud is a sample of something like 7.8 million different guitar riffs just from one guitar. 8 million different tones that you can like piece together to make artificial music.
Just imagine the sound of a galaxy collapsing. What is that like? What is the sound of two galaxies bumping into each other or passing through each other. These are new sounds and these are new phenomena. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. I know that I probably won't see that in my lifetime.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were to hear the sound of a galaxy collapsing, it probably just hurt. If I'm being real, I was just thinking about, what if someone did map the vibrations of a quasar onto a musical scale and used all of the sampling techniques or whatever to match all the wavelengths to a sound register that we could understand? Would it really mean anything to us? Probably not. It's just there. I know people who are synesthetic.
What?
Maybe. I'm just saying, I happen to know some people who are synesthetic, whose senses blend into one another. Like some people who experience sounds as colors and smells as textures and things like that. It's a weird little phenomenon, but not.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
We do. And I'd say for some, it's a little more pronounced. A little more. Synesthetic people have this ability to remember things in ways that, because often our senses are the gateways to our memory, having multiple ways in which to recall something improves someone's memory. The sounds of the quasars, maybe it will be a top 50 hit a generation from now. I don't know. Because I guarantee you someone's put it together. That's the thing about the internet, man. Like, the first thing that they make of it is porn, but then the next thing is music. I was just saying, like, or no, cat videos. First it's porn, then it's cat videos, then it's music. Hi, if you're enjoying this podcast, I'd like to invite you to the M3 Live broadcast. We hold 4 of them during the week with 4 different hosts. So on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Greg hosts a news that black people can use, as he would call it. And he and I invite guests and we talk about what's going on in the current state of affairs. On Saturday, I invite my friends to discuss relationships, spirituality, mental health, and wellness, and just issues that are of importance to the Black and LGBTQ communities. And on Sunday, there are 2 hangouts, one by Derek at 3 p.m. Eastern. He talks about what's going on in the culture, invites his friends to join in the conversation, and Devon hosts a nerd culture podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern. And all of these are scheduled on Monday evenings. So if you want to be a part of them, go to Male Media Mind on YouTube, see what live casts are coming up, and get notified. Hit the bell button. We'd love to get your input while we record, and we'll see you in the live stream.
I feel like it's time for us to invent completely novel musical instruments. An entire orchestra of just new musical instruments that create different sounds than we have, in order to really, so that we don't create stuff that's derivative. As long as you use a violin, that mother's like a violin. So create another fucking instrument. Create a whole nother complete group of instruments, and then the music, the sound that comes out of them will be different. That's the kind of shit I love classical shit, don't get me wrong, but I'm really an avant-garde. My heart and my soul is in the avant-garde, which is what's new.
If I'm being real, like, I have the exact opposite. Like, I think that's probably why we have these conversations. Because I find, if I'm being real, most artists who I know who are creative, the ones who are trying to be avant-garde, usually produce a hot steaming pile of shit. Just hot garbage. And the only thing they have to comfort their hot garbage is that it was designed to not be enjoyed by the masses. They already have expected it to fail because they knew that they were diverting from the beaten path. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not trying. I find the avant-garde hack as bad as the action movie hack. You're basically just trying to create something different and hope that the shit sticks. There's this movie that I would highly recommend you see. Any creative person should see, called The 40-Year-Old Version. It's about this woman who's a playwright. She lives in New York and she's struggling. She had a one-hit wonder type career that she's subsisting off of, but she's trying to find something new. And she's approaching 40 years old, and she hasn't had a success since her early 30s. And somehow she ends up becoming a hip hop artist. She goes to somebody to record something, and she just starts rapping, and she likes it. So she tries going into it. Later on in the movie, however, she abandons her desire to create hip hop and tries to basically make a commercially successful play. Because at this point she's just like, I just want to make some money. It was so funny. The movie, by the way, is a comedy. So when she went into these rooms to pitch the idea of her play, I wish I had sound clips from it because it was so fucking hilarious. It'd be like these high concept pitches, if you've ever heard of that. You name something popular, but you put a twist on it, and that's called a high concept. So he said, how about we do 12 Angry Men, but with all women? Okay. Or how about let's do a story about the Underground Railroad, but from the white people's point of view. I'm serious. This is like a joke in there. It's like some things, just because they're different, the reason that no one has done it is because it's so incredibly stupid. That's why no one's done it. And you looking for something fresh is a fresh pile of shit. You know what I'm saying? It is for the most part.
I have to tell you that at the heart of art is you have to. It's experimentalism. You have to attempt.
I agree.
I agree. Experiment so that you can come back and go, okay, that was really a pile of shit.
Okay, I agree. I 100% agree with you on that. And that is part of the process. Honestly, as we were talking about history and memory and such, the beauty about history and the collective conscious is that we forget all that shit. All that horrible shit that playwright made. The funny thing when they talk about classical composers, the ones who are popular, the ones that made it to this day, the one that often comes to mind is Mozart. The reason Mozart is so remembered is because he was incredibly prolific. He wrote ridiculous amounts of music from a very early age. The vast majority
politically connected.
Yes. But that's also the reason why he was able to write so much, is just because he had the work. But the point is, though, a good 80 to 90% of that music is not considered in any way pleasurable or memorable. But he exists through history because there was enough there to be recognized. They'll give examples of some of his contemporaries who probably wrote better pieces than his, just never got any traction. A lot of this shit was pretty mechanical anyway by today's standards. It was very, in my mind, when I listen to some of this Baroque classical music, it is beautiful, but it's very mechanical too, if that makes sense. Anyway, so a lot of it.
I don't know if I'm big on Mozart. I love French and Italian.
I just want to be entertained and enjoy some cool shit. If I'm being real, there's plenty to discover that I'll never get a chance to really sink my teeth into. And even when I do get to appreciate it, it's a vague, pale representation of what it would be like if I were to enjoy a certain symphony or something. There's no way I can recreate that original sort of feeling or know for sure that it's the original intent of it. And the further we get away from it, the less we're going to know about it over time. It's just going to be further and further diluted. There's plenty for me to read. I have a bulging library full of books that I'm intending to read. I want to read some books on philosophy. I like more modern philosophy, especially dealing with...
Voltaire is modern.
No, when I'm talking about modern, I'm talking about philosophers who've existed alongside an MRI machine. That's what I'm talking about, my modern...
I challenge you then, because you will find that
what I mean modern...
may be more modern than a lot of modern...
Yeah, and what I'm saying is I could definitely...
modern thought.
I get that. And I would like to read someone who is a student of Voltaire. When I'm talking about interpretations of science, especially, that these earlier philosophers would not have had access to. They need to be interpreted by someone who understands the science that we know now. It just does, because by definition, there's just going to be a wrong about the things that we were wrong about at the time. It should always be correcting. There's certainly a place and time for me to revisit some classics, but I guess what I'm saying right now is I want a reason to go back and read those classics. And that usually comes from reading someone now who was inspired by it, and then going back and filling in that context of their more recent work. Because usually when I read something from the distant past, I feel a connection to it. I was big on actually a lot of Russian literature.
Tolstoy?
Yeah. I think I was a little bit of there was a certain darkness there that was attractive to me.
I think it's to see, you would think, oh, Dave's really a classical, he's really a traditionalist. I am totally not a traditionalist. I love tradition, but only because it teaches me what I need to escape.
Okay.
What I need to, it teaches me that these are the rules, and these are the rules that need to, and now I know how to break them, because I know how these rules were crafted.
Right.
But, and I respect art for art's sake. I respect the recklessness of simply breaking a rule for the sake of breaking a rule, because after fucking it up a few times, you're like, oh shit, I didn't break this rule properly the first time because I needed to go like that. And then you have a whole philosophy and structure about breaking the rule and deconstructing it. And it forces you have to really understand the rules in order to break it. It's a thoughtful process. It's not just, okay, so black, it's not just black, white. It's not just opposite for the sake of opposite. It is a thoughtful and meticulous and methodical deconstruction of a concept for the purpose of exploring what lay behind and beyond the concept.
Right. Yeah. I can see
You
that.
have to kill the concept. You have to murder the concept.
The concepts are, what do you say, directions or guideposts to a certain destination. And so originality is finding your own way. But ultimately, the goals are similar. It's just the way we get there is, if you're being true to yourself, will be unique and different. Like when I think about just the idea of, we talked about this on a philosophical level, that, you know, so much about the world we don't actually know. Like when you get into even deeper philosophy, on a deeper, like, intellectual level, I don't even know if you exist or anything outside my own head. If you want to talk about not knowing anything, there's that I could just very well just be a hallucination that you've been having.
That's true.
Yeah. So I fully understand the idea of being skeptical to a fault, let's just say. But
none of us could exist. God could be an entity that has the ultimate case of schizophrenia that has caused him to create
multiple versions.
billions of personalities.
I've thought of that too. Like, one of my theories had to do with sleep. So I don't know if I told you about my run-in with psychological issues dealing with sleep, but I have an anxiety disorder that sometimes makes it very difficult for me to sleep. So I've been in situations where I've been like 3 and 4 or 5 days without sleep. And let me tell you, about mind altering shit. And I remember after having these problems, and I actually, the reason I'm thinking about it is because I just took my meds to go to bed. But I remember before I found the right medications and everything, and when I was reading, deeply studying sleep, there's really no good scientific reason why we should sleep. We don't understand it at all. So like energy conservation, not so much. We conserve about like 10% more energy while we're sleeping, which is about the same as if we were just laying still. So there's nothing particular about being asleep that conserves energy other than the fact that we're not moving. And we could do that while we're conscious. So why do we need to be unconscious? And part of my thinking of that is...
What about the concept of sleep deprivation disorder?
We do know we need sleep. And the things we do know about sleep is that when we don't get it, it is very detrimental to our health physically, but very quickly mentally. Talk about like dissociating and things like that. One of the most common forms of dissociation is to believe that you're not real, that nothing is real, that everything is just a dream. And that is a very common one. I have to play this for you. Hold up. I wonder if I can. So let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten like really high and just stoned out your mind?
No.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I'm too much of a control freak.
Okay, yeah. So this will not make much sense to you, but I do feel like one of the ways that anyone, if you don't ever get drug yourself into a psychotic state, it would be helpful to have one regardless. But anyway, because it does give you a different view on the world. So this one, I saw someone sent to me on 420, which is supposed to be the weed holiday. And this is a real video. This is not a comic relief thing. So let me see if I can start it. What to do if you're too high.
A friend told me you got a little too high. I'm sorry, pal. This sucks. You may feel like you've gone permanently insane or like you're dead. Here's the good news. You're alive and your sanity is probably intact. You're just really high.
Oh, God.
The first thing you should know is...
Oh, this is like a public service, and I says, there's nothing wrong. You're just really high.
That first paragraph that you said,
yeah,
completely terrifying. Just the idea of not absolutely being in control.
Right.
I can't even fathom that.
Yeah, I know.
I could never allow myself.
You need to drop some acid one day. I'm just saying. Okay, let me continue.
No one ever overdosed on cannabis, and you won't be the first. It's going to be okay. You might be feeling way too high for a few hours, but let's not focus on that now. Time has probably lost all meaning for you anyway. So here we are, and everything's going to be all right. You're real.
I love that. When she looks at the camera real serious and says, "You're real." Because when you get super high, you don't think anything is real. It's just like everything. Anyway, let me keep going.
You know what helps? A fresh breeze. Why not open a window? You can even go for a little walk. No one's looking at you, I promise. Are you hydrated? Weed can give you a serious case of cottonmouth, so drink up. You're not going to die from overhydration. Water is good for you. You're doing great. Got one of these beauties lying around? Lemon pulp, zest, and peels are full of terpenes, which can help regulate THC levels. A glass of fresh lemonade may be just what you need. Hey, let's visit your spice cabinet. Got any fresh peppercorns? There are chemicals in peppercorns that can help bring you down from a high. Grind some of these little guys. Give them a sniff. Don't worry if you sneeze a couple of times. Your brains are still in your head. You're good.
This shit is so fucking stupid to me. So now you're gonna go in your cupboard and sniff peppercorns and drink lemonade. Okay, all right, yeah.
What helps? A nice sitcom. Nothing too fast-paced or complicated. May I suggest going through the back catalog of Friends? Laughing is fun. Are you freaking out all by yourself? Oh, that won't do. It's time to call a trusted friend. Talking things through can do wonders and remind you that you're a person and not just a cloud of terrifying thoughts. Feel free to watch this video as many times as you want. Nothing bad will happen as a result, little buddy.
Oh,
You're going
God.
to be okay.
I love this so much.
Is that right?
And they're trying to be serious. This is from a website called Lifehack. Like, they're actually making a video. It says what to do if you're too high on weed. Like, that's the name of the video. And somehow this showed up in my directory. I was just like, oh my God. So
Malcolm.
seriously.
Malcolm. I just can't imagine.
Hey, thanks for listening to our podcast. I want to encourage you to listen to the end because we're going to include some extra footage from our YouTube live streams just to give you a behind the scenes look at how things go down. And I also want to invite you to join our reading club. It's somewhat informal so far right now. So we're about to start reading The Ethical Slut. If you're interested in joining us, there should be a link in the description below that if you purchase the book through will help support M3 and bringing you these discussions.
Matt, I mean, I would just be so, I could never allow myself to get that high.
Well, see, that's the thing. I do feel like there is a benefit to having that sensation of disembodiment or having the experience of not being yourself. I think is very revolutionary.
But
and
you still are really yourself.
Yeah, I'm just saying
you really
that
are still yourself. It's an illusion.
Yeah, and that's the point, though.
Aberration.
That's the point, though, is that what is the experience of having a different form of consciousness alerts you to the idea that the supremacy of the way you see the world right now could itself also be an illusion, and very well may be one, because it is a very select, narrow view of reality. It's one that we all agree on, all the people within our species and within our cohort of biological. This is the inputs and the regularity of our peer group. But I think one of the ideas when you trip your balls is you start to realize that, you know, that the supremacy of your observations are that an illusion as well. Your concept of you is not who you are, honestly. Like when we talk about schizophrenia, there are structures in the mind that unify very disparate parts of your consciousness. And we don't understand how that happens or whatever, but people definitely experience it when they get tripped off their balls. They know, like when this woman made this video, she's clearly counseled, or, you know, people who wrote this script have clearly counseled people who have gotten really fucking high. It's like, you're not a terrifying cloud of thoughts.
Why would you want to do that?
It's just like exploring going to the moon, man. It's because you want to appreciate. It's like the difference between a sunrise and an earthrise. Like the picture of the earth cresting over the horizon of the moon. It's a different perspective. It's not like you need to go to the moon more than once.
Is it a necessary perspective?
Nothing is necessary. You're not necessary. None of it's necessary. Is it illuminating? The fuck yes. If you want to try to understand consciousness, yes. It's necessary, yeah. But perspective is necessary if you're trying to understand something. So,
well, to me, it seems that your understanding of something, it's only relevant when you're under the influence of that drug. When you're not, it doesn't mean it's meaningless, because you're looking at the world from a whole different perspective.
No, like I said, it's the same idea.
When you're high.
It's the same idea of like I said, Earthrise. Like none of us have actually gone to the moon and seen Earth. It's just the perspective of seeing when people got to see the Earth in that way for the first time. It's perspective changing. Right. It is. So if you see the inner landscape of your mind differently, and the only way you can experience that is by losing your mind a little bit, like losing the strictures that tie all of these disparate parts of your personality together. When they're loosened, your mind expands into places that you've never been before. You get a better perspective of what your consciousness is, even when you're not high.
So here's my question. If you can achieve that extraordinary consciousness with an artificial drug, it seems like it would also be able to be possible to replicate that same experience just using your own devices.
Absolutely.
I don't think everybody necessarily needs a drug in order to do that. I think
absolutely.
Do that.
No, you're absolutely right. Like a drug is just an expedient medical way of doing it if you do it right. But yeah, like there are plenty of people people call it flow, or I've definitely felt that same sort of elevated state without any chemical help.
Have you ever manipulated your dreams before?
Very few times, but yes. Yeah. Like I said, I have a very bad sleeping problem, so I don't remember my dreams at all now because of that. But when I didn't, there are definitely times where, dreams are another interesting case too. Yeah.
I want you to try this. I want you, when you go to sleep, I want you to focus on a place, and I want you to visualize yourself in that place. And I want you to create your dream and manipulate your own dream. You decide where you walk. You decide, I want to see this palace. I want to look at I want to go in this direction. I want to go down that hallway. I want you to actually take charge of your dream instead of being a passenger. Yeah. Try that.
Oh, I've done it. I know.
If you haven't already.
Yeah, I've done it.
Because that's fun. To me, that's fun. I'm like, shit, I'm in a dream. I used to do that when I was studying architecture. And that's how I would design. I would build my building. I would walk through my building and go, oh, no, I don't like that.
What is that place, right? Like, where do we dream? What the fuck is that? I want to know. I know. That's what I'm saying. That's another one of those big-ass mystery questions. Like, I've definitely experienced alternate realities in my mind, and it's just called dreams. And it's so common. Everyone does it, like 4 or 5 times a night. I was like, that's weird. That's weird. Why do we do that?
I do it during the day. You fall asleep, you daydream.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another form of consciousness. And you can, the important thing is you can manipulate and control it. It doesn't have to always control you.
Yeah. That's something I was going to say about the artificial manipulation of psychotropics and hallucinogens. You can also... You don't have to trip balls till you're so high. It's just usually that in the process of finding the right dose, you're probably going to trip balls once. But a lot of people do what they call microdosing, where they never really they might not even recognize they're high because their high comes so gradually. And there's some real interesting shit about that when they started testing. And I think they're actually starting to examine some of these drugs that were scheduled back in the 60s, and it's some really crazy shit that people have experienced. Like, there are studies that are being declassified now from the CIA, and of course a lot of this is just like pseudoscience, but at the same time they were doing studies on the use of psychotropics to read minds, control people, hypnotic suggestion, things like that. And a lot of it's bullshit, but some of it isn't. Some of it is. It's like when you throw a bunch of shit at a wall, you throw a lot of money at it, like some of that shit just sticks, and it's, and they never went down that hole because, that at some point the drugs became illegal to use and just funding just dried up. But it's coming back. So it's some interesting stuff. They're starting off small. Like, they did one study on psychotropics for treating PTSD. Because PTSD is one of those, it's a disorder that's often characterized by unwanted thoughts. So disrupting someone's thought pattern with a psychotropic is fairly like hitting reset on the computer. I mean, it's not very complicated, but it tends to fix problems like that. It's like just reboot.
Does it really fix them, or does it just temporarily suppress them? For the duration of the drug, of the intoxication?
No, it's, from my understanding, a treatment like any other. It's not a cure, but it's a permanent improvement.
So does it reroute the synapse that leads to...
I don't think so. It doesn't reroute synapses. So the thing about the way brain structures work is that they're not really pre-wired in a certain way. Like we think about things being wired because when certain pathways aren't used, they fall into disrepair, but they still exist. They're just not as efficient as other pathways. So just like water going down the stream of least resistance, it tends to keep going down these other pathways that are much more supple and easy for chemicals and electricity to pass through. Other paths don't actually die, though. That's a misconception people have had. And it's difficult as you get older to use these rarely used pathways, but you can. And that's something that a chemical enhancement thing can help happen, because your mind is no longer using its predetermined pathways. So it's basically just trying to find different ways without a roadmap. You just basically go down whatever path is most available. And with the right therapies and so forth, once you have these drugs and you've dosed in a responsible way, a therapist can help build the pathways in your mind that were difficult or more difficult to use prior to the administrating of the drug, because your mind was so accustomed to using those other pathways, if that makes sense. So it's very good for addictions, obsessive compulsive behaviors, things that come from repeated exposure. Yeah, it can break those patterns. And like I said, that's real basic, but I'm just saying with much more and better studies, we could do more. Like that's just the reboot. Imagine like programming, like it's possible with possible chemical understanding. It's not within our lifetime, but it's conceivable of some forms of like chemical programming in such the same way that we say program cells with very specific instructions. Thank you for listening to the M3 Bearcast. I really want to thank you for joining me in the second episode of the M3 Bearcast. The conversation that I just had with David is typical of the sorts of conversations that we have. They're often very nerdy, philosophical, sometimes spiritual. We often fall on the opposite sides on a host of different issues, but we do so in a kindly way. We try not to insult each other. And it's very typical of the way that we talk about a lot of issues. And I think one of the reasons I wanted to record him is because he brings out some of the best arguments in myself. I think that's the model for the show that I've been doing. Is I want to do solo podcasting, but oftentimes my ideas come from the ideas of other people. I'm usually responding to what they're saying, and it just helps to have another voice. And so I just want to thank David for allowing me to record our conversation. As I said before, I have some bonus material for you from our M3 Live broadcast. This one is from Wednesday, April 7th. And this one was hosted by Greg. He hosts a live broadcast every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And this was just some of the audio as we were leaving. Give you some behind the scenes of what we do at M3. And I really appreciate you guys for listening to episode 2. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
When I first moved to Atlanta, I was dating this dude, and it was on a Saturday. I'll never forget. We woke up on the Sunday, and he was like, "I'm still hard." I was like, because I'm the man. Boom. Chicken boom, boom. Sunday night, he was like, oh, you man, it's still hard. I was like, whoa, come on now. Look at you. You just take a little blue pills. And he was like, nope. Tuesday, he was like, I gotta go to the bar. I'm still fully erect. I was like, you went to work like that?
Right.
And so they had to go through, well, real talk. I don't know what happened at the end because I broke up with the nigga. I'm like, I ain't fucking with that. Now, what is your story to go with that, Jeffrey?
Well, through my different capacities as a health educator, I used to work at Grady at one point. In their ER, we had a project there, and they had a guy come in, like, I want to say it was during one of the, like, Pride kind of weekends, maybe MLK or something.
It might have been this nigga.
That might be hilarious.
But this one wasn't, because this one actually did take something. He went to a party, a sex party, and he put on a metal cock ring when he was soft, and then took a pill, not realizing how strong it was, and his dick got so hard and would not go down. They actually literally had to cut that thing off of him. It was just the funniest, craziest thing I've ever seen. Oh my
God. No.
He was like, and like literally, I think he came into the ER with like a trench coat on or something. It was just really perverted.
Oh my God. No. I'm like a little.
You know how the nurses are. Well, I got a problem. Like,
So was he like large? Was he super large? Or?
He was a large guy, and it was wild because everybody was, it is bad when even you think the little guy was like it was an older Jewish doctor or something, and he was like, "Sir, you never put on a cock ring while you're soft," and I was like, "How do you know that?"
Oh my God, y'all have
like this is happening before.
Wow, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Now I did not know that because I don't wear cock rings, but I did not know you're not supposed to put them on while you're First of all, they're too complicated. Like you gotta flip it under. Does it go under the balls? And I'm like,
yeah, I think it depends. I don't know.
It's a weird kind of process. I'm not a fan.
You don't wear them either. You wear them?
I knew a funny story about that.
I have, but no, it's.
I knew this guy that went through airport security and forgot he had on one. And he had to go behind the screen.
You need to write a book. You talk about me. I need you to write a book.
Oh, that's a good one, though.
Like, I'm going to hound you to every day of your life until that book.
But what he said, because he said he was thinking because he wore it so normally, it was like jewelry. So he, oh well, it's on, and he goes through the security, and, beep 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 beep. He's like, but ain't nothing, and they go with the wand.
Oh no.
Like,
that is a good one. Did he have to pull out his dick in front of TSA?
Yes, it was a TSA at LaGuardia.
Oh my God.
Well, let me tell you, that is the closest airport to my apartment in New York. And you're going to talk about some bullshit. It goes down in LaGuardia. Let me just tell you, that's the closest airport to the city. Yeah. So, imagine what goes. JFK is like way out. So JFK kind of services Long Island,
right.
International flights.
Yeah, most people go through LaGuardia.
Niggas going to Wisconsin, so wherever they from, they go through LaGuardia. And you just see, like, I saw a dude, I was on my way to Virginia one weekend, and I saw a dude with a plushie outfit on. Like, and so he was carrying the head, and the lady at TSA, "Sir, can you unzip your outfit?" He was like, "No, because I ain't got no pants on."
Oh my God.
He was like, "Sir, you ain't got no drawers on under your outfit." They had to take him in this little room. So I was like 3 or 4 people behind him. I was like, "What y'all do? We gonna make him put on a gown and take off that outfit." I was like,
"Really?
Why?" She was like, "Probably." I was like, "Oh God, let this nigga be on my flight. Let this nigga be on my flight." And he was on my flight. So good. But he was sitting too far for me to ask a question. Damn.
He got on the plane in a plushie outfit?
It was like a squirrel or bear outfit. It was like,
oh my God.
and then so he was, and so like I heard him telling the story to the person he was sitting beside. He was like, he's going to a convention. He didn't want to change clothes.
Oh my god.
Or like it would
You couldn't pay me to walk around in an outfit like that in public. Well, let's get on a like. He had to travel to the airport, walk through like that's a whole.
Can you imagine his Uber driver?
Right.
Sir, are you the squirrel? Sir,
I have a picture of this squirrel. Is this you? I can't.
People are so.
Oh my
funny,
god! Now, I should write a book about the things I've seen in New York City. New York City is just so.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, yeah. One morning I was on my way to work, and like the man was just giving the dude head on the train, and nobody stopped. This dude. I'm from a small town in Virginia, so of course I'm like.
Wow.
He just busted his mouth and went on about their business. I was like,
Wow.
ain't nobody gonna say nothing? Anybody gonna call him up to police?
No, it's just like.
Right, everybody gonna give this nigga a rag?
They're like, nah, that's his business.
Nigga, it's Thursday. What you want? I mean,
Right.
That's what you're gonna get. I'm like, oh my god, these people like. So wait a minute, with them, how many episodes are there?
It's 10.
Oh, are they all?
They're all there. Yeah. I was also.
After that warning, I was like, ugh.
Yeah. I also was gonna see that. What was it? Exterminate all the brutes. That's a
Yeah, you
document.
sent me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sent me that.
I watched the first one. I think it's like a 4-hour documentary because at first I was like, oh, this will be short. No, it's 4 hours. It's kind of like, but it's really brutal. I mean, I gotta be real. It's super dark.
I ain't in the mood for that right now.
Right. And I want to watch it, but I have to wait. I don't know.
I've been reading the principles of Buddha and stuff. So I was like, when the first 4 chapters, I was like, this is some bullshit. I'm young man get killed. What the fuck? Ooh. So but like episode by chapter 10, like I was literally like, I was like, damn, that's some dope shit for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I have canceled steak and potatoes because I don't want to panic attack in the restaurant. I was like, I need to go 24 hours without anxiety, so then I'll go outside. So I'm doing pretty good. Like I had a little anxiety this morning, like 11, maybe. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot better. I don't know. I had an epiphany. So I came in the room about 11:15. I was like, I gotta let this shit go because I just gotta let it go. So I sent a text to all my family at once. I was like, won't be attending the funeral.
Right.
I will a jungle full of flowers. I cannot. There's more than one reason, and hatred is not one of them. I just will not be. And you came in because I'm a fucking adult. And once I said that, and then I put on my happy playlist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, it all just went away. I was like, it didn't go away. So I told my partner, I was like, I know you hate when I cancel steak and potatoes, but let me give 24 hours without, anxiety. And I feel very normal right now. I think, and Trintellix is helping too. But I only take 5 milligrams. I take a half of a pill. So it's probably more my attitude than it is anything else. So, just keep me, I had a little weed earlier too.
Yeah.
Keep me on the calm tip. All right, so I need to watch the winter. Is it the winter solstice? What is it?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the Captain America show. It's good. It's good. It's only got 4 episodes right now.
How far? So you done? So
I'm done. Malcolm's not done yet.
What's that? You're
not done with Falcon and
oh yeah, no, I'm up to episode 4. I don't know. There's 2 more, right, that are coming out.
I think this is on 5. But did you watch the one that came out yesterday?
Yeah. That was the one where he, the shield.
So Disney makes your ass
so we both up to date.
Yeah. So
Disney makes you keep tuning in.
Yeah, so they're doing it week by week, but I think Devon posted this picture of that when the character came in the room for the dude, And it says that moment when he knew he fucked up, or no, it says something like that, where every Marvel fan knew that this dude just
that
fucked up.
something was here to go down.
yeah, that shit.
All right, y'all. Let me go.
The storyline is good, though. I mean, you'll enjoy it. Their character development, it really brings to life these characters in a way like you get a real good backstory to really understand the characters a lot better. So
yeah, she's likely to be in that show, another show that they announced 5 seasons of. So, like, I hope she's like the star of it. Like, oh my goodness,
they have 5 seasons already.
No, they signed up the director of this other movie. I'm trying not to spoil it for you. They signed up the director of this other Marvel.
My ass is nosy. I'm like,
yeah. One of the characters from
okay, no going for it.
Okay. Yeah, one of the characters from another movie showed up in this show, and the director of that movie signed up.
The internet has just gone crazy.
Yeah, so. She's likely to be the lead of that show. Which would be awesome.
So it's 10 episodes. How many episodes of this?
This 6.
Are they hour long? Only got 4 that's out now.
Yeah.
Okay, are they hour long?
Yeah, just about.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Wish me luck. All right.
All right, man.
All right, fellas. Let me go hunt for some food.